coming up on the Lead Ministry Podcast.
What you need to do is not turn them loose, but make them an intelligent observer of the strategy. You might be like, Josh, you're telling me there's a strategy for cleaning a closet? Yes.
Now your host, Josh Denhart.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Lead Ministry Podcast, and almost Merry Christmas to you. That's right. This is our kind of Christmas holiday episode, and it is packed with a whole bunch of gifts, right? There's a gift in here for you. We're excited. We're taking this entire month to talk about interns and internships and how you, yes, you should and could have an intern and how to most effectively leverage them. Well, my name is Josh Denhart. I'm grateful that you're here, and we are on the podcast today with Bill Van Kirk. Good to see you, buddy.
Tis the season to be jolly.
The season to be jolly. And yes, we have, if you're watching on YouTube, we have some special holiday lights on the screen. Mm-hmm. We shall remove those now. There we go.
I like it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Well, gang, we're super grateful that you're here. Grateful that you are tuning in. Thanks for being with us on this journey. Some of you are members of Lead Ministry, and you have access to the podcast extras. You have access to all kinds of extra things that we do, including maybe the courses, webinars and webinar extras as well, and bonuses. So we want you to keep looking into that. But this month, of course, we're taking a full deep dive into what it looks like to have a successful internship program. Now, the internship program that we are suggesting is a 12-week thing. It's not that. You can do anything that you want, right? I've known people that have done a 12-month, what they would call an internship, and they've extended it. That's totally good. What we're saying is you will benefit personally, and you will also help grow the future kingdom by bringing in somebody and giving them some doable duties and also some very practical learnings. And so that's kind of what we're talking about this particular month. Well, Bill, this is kind of a unique one, right? A lot of people that I talk to when it comes to interns, they make this funny kind of pejorative, this funny kind of joke, and they're like, yeah, we're going to get him to go get coffee for us and clean the ministry closet. Those are the two biggest things that people joke about. We're going to get him to go make a coffee run for us, because that's what you kind of think about in a tongue-in-cheek way for an intern. Hey, go get us coffee and make sure mine has cream or something, right? And then the second thing is, well, let's just turn him loose on cleaning the ministry closet. Well, the funny thing is, that's what we're talking about today, is how many people does it take to clean your ministry closet? This sounds like a joke, doesn't it?
Yeah, like how many people does it take to screw in a light bulb or something like that? Yeah,
that's what this is. How many people does it take to clean your ministry closet? Well, I got to say, it isn't one. There's the cat's out of the bag. It's not one person in it. I got to tell you, it's certainly not your intern. My advice would be, don't turn them loose to just do something. Bill, can I tell you a terrible story right now?
I would love to hear a terrible story.
Oh, dude, I still have regrets about this. I'm still frustrated. Okay, so this is a ministry cleaning closet story. It was very early on, and my wife and I were at my in-laws, like the grandparents, Sarah's grandparents. And for some reason, all of the grandkids, Sarah and her brothers and me and our spouses, were all upstairs in grandma's farmhouse. And her grandpa had died a number of years prior. And we were trying on his old clothes, right? And and they were, polyester zoot suit kind of deal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was this one. It was an olive green corduroy 3-piece suit that fit me like a glove. It was literally perfect. 3-piece corduroy olive green. I mean, now if you're in a ministry context, you don't know when, but at some point that's going to play really well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yep. Yep.
And so I brought that one back, and I also brought back this polyester. I don't know what the deal was with green with this guy, but it was like a really kind of a lime green polyester with big, whatever, like the the collar
Lapels.
kind of lapels.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it screamed 70s. And so I brought those in. We placed them into the props closet because at some point there was going to be a need for somebody to come out in a zoot suit like this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the bad part. We had a guy who was very dedicated to our ministry, who was serving like Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights and did a lot of extra things for us. And he just volunteered to clean the ministry closet. You know where this is going. And all of a sudden, he purged so hard without any oversight or anything. And both of those suits were thrown away. And I mean, I was like, oh, dude, that's not replaceable.
No.
Because of its vintage nature. And so that has always, to this day, still burned me, because I think it would have been fun out of nowhere to put on the 3-piece, olive green corduroy 3-piece suit and embarrass my children and go to like a football game with them or something.
Yes, absolutely.
Or if nothing else, there's a great skit where a dorky guy comes out and he just looks, okay, that stuff was thrown because, as we're talking about this today, how many people does it take to clean your ministry closet? It ain't one. You got to have some balance. Okay. So we're going to define it as we always do. We're going to develop it. And then, of course, we're going to have some practical suggestions. So cleaning an intern closet plus your intern. That's kind of what we're talking about today. Well, let's define a ministry closet. It's a small, enclosed room for storing frequently or infrequently used items that are helpful to execute the duties in a church context. That is a ministry closet. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a ministry closet, another part of the definition should be that it's never big enough.
Oh, preach that all day long.
There's never enough storage.
There's never enough storage. It's so funny that you say that, because I say that there are 3 budgets at a church. Mm-hmm. There's the financial budget, which we all know about. There is the human resource budget, which is your volunteers, and you really got to steward those well. And then there's the space allocation budget, where it's like, don't you even think about touching that ministry closet. I'll fight you over that.
Oh, yeah. It's so true. Well, and I think particularly, this is what I've seen being in the church for a while, is it's usually a fight between women's ministry.
Oh, dude.
And children's ministry for storage space.
For sure.
Epic battles, right? When I got to my church here like 16 years ago, every single closet was filled up with children's ministry stuff. Not one closet. They're like, oh, the youth want a closet? You can have half of this children's ministry closet.
Right.
It was just like taking over the church.
I'll tell you, this is the truth. There are 2 things that I'm embarrassed about. One thing that I'm embarrassed about, both of these are things that you didn't want to cross me. And I'm embarrassed about them because I didn't handle myself very well. If you tinker with our closets, you're going to see a brand new side of me. That's first. Yeah. Second, if all of a sudden you start talking to my people about running nursery, providing childcare for your random women's ministry event or your random outreach program, we want our volunteers to have childcare, so you guys are on the hook. And I was like, whoop, gloves are off. Let's go. Not happening. So
children's ministry is not childcare. Come on.
Well, listen, there is a childcare component to children's ministry. I'm not opposed to that. However, I am not your boy.
Right.
And like, if you want to pull off that event, you need to count the cost. I ain't pulling that off.
Right. Absolutely. And you're not cannibalizing.
No, that's the deal.
Yes.
I'm not cannibalizing my volunteers that I have to provide on Sunday morning. And so I said, sorry, we need to have an episode completely on this.
We should.
This right here is the Christmas gift that is stuffed way under. And somebody's like, oh, there's one more gift. That's this right here.
Yeah.
But, you can't cannibalize your very own thing. I have no idea where I was going, except that there was an outreach guy who had the cool car and bike show, right? So at our community center, he wanted to invite everybody who had a cool car or a cool motorcycle, and people would come to the church, and that was going to be somehow drawing people closer to our church. Fine.
Right.
It was somewhat not well attended, but we were on the hook to find volunteers to staff the nursery for this guy's volunteers, because he thought, hey, somebody might have a kid. We don't know if any of our volunteers have kids, but if they do, they're going to need childcare. And so he went to this great length. And so, and I ended up confronting him, and I was like, dude, do you think that Sunday morning having a healthy staff of children's ministry volunteers in the nursery, which is more important, that or your random outreach? And, it didn't come to blows, but it came to Christian blows.
I can only imagine. I'm sure there's so many people listening to this just like, yep, been there.
What they're doing is they're cheering me on. They're like, you go, you take one for the Gipper. But no,
for sure.
Okay, so let's get back to this closet thing. Don't monkey with me, man. If you start encroaching on my closet, you're going to see a different side of me. Okay, Now, here's the deal. We're talking about interns. Cleaning the ministry closet is a wonderful job for the intern. However, be thou cautious, because they simply don't know enough. And so it is a great experience for them to be what I'm going to call the fourth person, not the third. The intern is going to be the fourth. We'll get to this in just a second. Okay. So using an intern, turning an intern loose to clean a ministry closet can become a massively regrettable experience and situation. My encouragement is to be cautious. They are in learning mode. Don't turn them loose on do it mode. They, my friends, are going to ruin Christmas. Okay, here we go. So here's the cat out of the bag. You need 3 different personalities in order to effectively clean a ministry closet. Now, the fourth person, of course, is the intern. But these 3 major personalities, you need the cutthroat pragmatist. You need the sentimental hoarder. You need the budget-minded realist. Now, the funny thing is, this sounds like, remember we opened it up and it said, how many people does it take to screw in a light bulb? Well, how many people does it take to clean it? Okay. It's like, here's the other part of this joke. The cutthroat pragmatist, the sentimental hoarder, and the budget-minded realist all walk into a bar, and the bartender says, So
I like that.
Yeah. So now let's just, before we go too much further, do you realize that the cutthroat pragmatist is automatically at odds with the sentimental hoarder?
Oh yeah,
they just
absolutely.
But you need them all. Okay, let's go through each of these, Bill. The pragmatist. So what is pragmatism? It's a character trait or way of thinking that emphasizes practicality. Okay, synonyms of pragmatism: businesslike, efficient, down to earth, practical, utilitarian, matter of fact, realistic, commonsensical. I like that word. So we always do this, don't we? On our lists, I ask you which one stands out to you. What do you got?
I mean, I was going for like utilitarian until we got to commonsensical, and I was like, I just like that you chose commonsensical, and I love that word. Yeah. I'm adding that to my vocabulary.
Yeah. I am a word guy. I like words, but I do like this word utilitarian. It's funny that you and I kind of are drawn to this. We do. I need to quit saying that. Everybody in the audience is like, we know you guys are mind melded, but utilitarian, does it have a utility? That's it. Okay. Now let's look at opposites of pragmatism: idealistic, unrealistic, inefficient, impractical. Okay. So that's the pragmatist. Now, the cutthroat pragmatist is a fierce or relentlessness. They're fierce or relentless in their practicality. So like they are hardcore. Okay. Enough said. Now, this is going to be a fun exercise. What would the pragmatist say in this setting? If we had a microphone, they would say this: Quote, the only question that matters is, does this item currently serve a practical use in this ministry? If not, it's gone. No exceptions, no excuses, no maybes. And those last three little phrases, no exceptions, no excuses, no maybes. So they are drawing a hard line in the sand. And of course, our next person, the sentimental hoarder, is already tearing up.
Oh my goodness. This is like, I just have to admit right now, like I am the pragmatist.
Okay, so you're
I don't know. I don't know if I'm like
yeah.
a completely uncompromising pragmatist, but I'm like, to me, things don't have sentimental value usually.
Yeah, me
I
either.
mean, there's probably like a handful of things in my life that I'm like, that has sentimental value. The rest I'm like, no. And I think some of it, this is too deep, but some of it has to do with like my family of origin, because
Sure.
I grew up in a family where if you dropped a plate and broke it in our kitchen, my mom would cry. She would literally cry because Grandma Herman gave us that plate 30 years ago. And I'm like, we haven't even used it. Like, this is the first time I've seen it. It's broken. Who cares? But it was like automatically everything is sentimental, you know?
And that's the same way with my parents. And they got really hurt and offended that I didn't want the creaky rocking chair that they that they like rocked me to sleep in, that actually my dad had been rocked in. And then they had it stripped and stained and I was like, I don't want that. And they were deeply offended. So,
yes.
Okay. Well, so Bill has officially, ladies and gentlemen, Bill has outed himself as the pragmatist. And I got to say, I kind of am too, just to be truthful. But guess what? You need this person on your closet cleaning team. You need the person that says, no, not keeping that. No, absolutely not. You better start defending, because I'm already 1 foot out the door toward the dumpster. So start defending that. We're not keeping that. That was me. Okay. But you also need the hoarder. This is the balancing act. By the way, there are 3 people that are going to be on your team, and they are a 3-legged stool. And that 3-legged stool, you whip one out, that you're going to have a problem at some point. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, sentimentalist. What is sentimental? A sentimental hoarder is an individual who struggles to discard or part with possessions because they have attached intense emotional significance to them or to the ministry itself. Mm-hmm. I've seen this. I know this person. Her name is Angela. Whoops, sorry. and she and she was like, "Whoa, hold on. You know, don't you realize?" Okay, that's fine. Synonyms of sentimentalism. I think this might be wrong. These are antonyms. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll just switch that on the fly. We'll just do this real quick. Are you ready? We'll take this green. We will cut that out, and we'll say indifferent, uncaring, unfeeling, pragmatic. This is the opposites. Okay.
Yes.
Let's go to the next one. I hope the opposites. Nope. Okay. Yeah. These are switched, right? Okay. Here we go. Idealistic, unrealistic, inefficient, and impractical. That is the hoarder sentimentalist. It has no. Okay, you get the idea. Now, the sentimental hoarder. An object is not just a thing; it's a tangible memory, a piece of ministry history, or an extension of our identity and the identity of the ministry. That's what they would say, right? Mm-hmm. Well, here's another thing they might say. Quote, "Please don't call it junk." Now, just stop right there. Like they are offended on behalf of this precious item. Like we're like, dude, what's up with this junk? Whoa. Don't call this junk. Don't you realize that has a personality and it's in this room and they can hear you? Don't talk about that plate. Don't talk about that plate that way. It's got feelings too, you know? Okay.
Yes.
So please don't call it junk. Carrying on, they say, I can't believe we almost got rid of this. You see, this is why we have to be careful. You don't understand. These are not just things. This is a story. This sweater, this was part of that powerful Christmas skit 7 years ago. We may do that skit again. Every single item in here is a chapter in the life of this ministry.
Take a picture.
says the hyper pragmatist. But I'm with you. But I gotta say, I straddle the fence here because that sweater, it actually. And by the way, do things happen in cycles in ministry? Yes, like in a children's ministry context, every 3 years, the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, we're going to do that again in 4th grade. And I don't want to have to go find that obscure, ugly sweater that completely played well. Can we pack it away in a tub that is labeled, that is exactly for that particular skit that we know is going to come around in 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
Okay, so I'm this weird guy who has all 3 of these because there's a budget-minded piece to me as well. That's like, dude, whoa, box that up. I know for a fact we're going to do that skit again, and
right.
And then
I mean,
yeah.
Well, I'll just say that I kind of outed myself as the pragmatist, but I'm somewhat sympathetic.
Yes.
And the part that got me was this tells a story. That was a powerful statement in there for the sentimental person, because I do think that the church throughout their history, there are items in certain things that do tell the story of the church. And depending on what it is, it might be very important for your church to have that history. Yes.
Bill, you've brought up an interesting thing. There's this great, I'm a huge fan of the book of Proverbs. Like there's 31 chapters in the book of Proverbs. There's typically 31 days in a year, or in a month, excuse me. And I just dedicated myself like 25 years ago to read a chapter of Proverbs every day. And I mean, not every day, but man, for like decades, I have read a chapter I'm really into Proverbs. Great. And one of them says this. By the way, what I'm getting ready to say isn't a proverb, but it's a derivation. This is the JRV. This is the Josh Revised Version. And it says this: do not move an ancient boundary stone before you know why it's been set. Ask the question first. Don't paint over that wall with that tacky mural and Jesus looks like he's an emaciated alien. Don't paint over that.
Yeah.
It's like, ask the question. Hey, can you tell me the story? Is there a story behind this? Or before you go to throw something away, hey, can you tell me the story here? Oh, yeah. That's actually a critical piece to what we do, and it'll come back. Okay. So interesting stuff.
Right. You don't want to be like, like at one of our locations as a church, we have our church's charter. And it was like the inception of the church, and all these people signed it. You don't want to be throwing that away.
No, you don't. So at the end of the day, even though they can be annoying, they are the sentimentalist, the sentimental hoarder. You need them on this team. Okay, let's go to the budget-minded person. This is the third person. What is budget-minded? A budget-minded realist is a person who makes financial decisions based on practical limitations and factual evidence, with a focus on long-term value and financial stability. So they are, by the way, this is not just the financially budget-minded, this is space budget-minded. This person is like, hey, I totally get it that we spent $17 on that really oversized nativity scene that we did for that one skit that will come back in 3 years. We don't have space for that. We're going to have to build that again. And by the way, I was a part of that. It cost $12. And I know somebody who has scrap wood. They'll probably build it for free from a space allocation. Can't do it.
Right. Yeah, that makes so much sense. They're kind of asking the question is, what is the cost of throwing this away? And what is the cost of keeping it?
Oh, yeah, totally. And so some synonyms: cost conscious, economical, thrifty, love that, value oriented, financially savvy, prudent. So that's who this person is. And they are not to be backslapped. They're to be brought to the table for this wonderful negotiation and debate about space, about money, about future use, and about practicalities. We need all of these people. Okay, so opposites of budget-minded: extravagant, wasteful, spendthrift, and reckless. Now, I was a part of a big church, and I was never the guy who said, whatever, we'll just buy it again. I hate that mentality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, that's so wasteful, and it mirrors our consumer culture for everything. It's like, oh, we'll just, it's like, oh, there's thousands of dollars worth of items in here. Well, whenever we need that in the next budget season, we'll just
buy it.
Just buy it again, just throw it away for now. It's like, no. And that's not being a good steward of the church's money.
No. And by the way, what we often said is, do you realize that somebody gave their hard-earned dollars and put that onto the altar, so to speak? And do you think God is going to look favorably upon us just torching people's money? No.
Right.
Don't be extravagant. Don't be wasteful. Don't be reckless. Okay, so what would the budget-minded person say at the negotiating table with a whole heap of stuff in the middle of the room? By the way, this completely happened. We would have things that were like easy, like, hey, this, nope, go. This, oh, wait, put that in the middle. And so then we would literally have this big, huge thing in the middle that was the negotiated stuff. And they would say this, okay, before we do anything, says the budget-minded realist, let's remember the goal here. We're not just making space, we're making smart choices. Every item we get rid of and don't replace is money saved. Every item that we keep is and don't wear is money wasted. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So this is part of the negotiating. You need this person on your cleaning team. And so it's this unique little, it's almost like what was the Potsdam conference when we started to negotiate the how we were going to split up Europe? You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Is that what it was?
I don't remember.
It's maybe the wrong. But at the end of the day, you had the winners of World War II. They were like, okay, time out. We're going to split the spoils, and so then everybody was starting to vie and jockey for their position. I lived this 2 times a year. Mm-hmm. Every year, 2 times a year, we would clean our ministry closet. Now, Bill, you might be like, did it really need cleaned? Well, yes, it did, because I don't care unless you wall off and lock that door and nobody touches it for an entire year, it just massively balloons, not only in new things, but also things being out of place.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yep. And the minute you involve people in your ministry closet space, you're going to have to do something. Exactly.
And no matter how well, by the way, somebody out there's like, not ours, man. We spent like 18 hours labeling it. Yeah, good luck with that. You're labeling. When people are in a rush on a Sunday morning, they're like, okay, I'm going to dump and drop. I'm going to go back, be with people. We'll deal with this later. And that dealing with it later comes every 6 months. Am I right?
Absolutely. Well, and I think if you are really, really organized, I know a lot of ministry people who are like manic about their ministry closet.
Oh, yeah.
It would just mean that you're going to spend less time every 6 months. It doesn't mean that you don't need to look at it.
Bingo. So we did it 2 times a year so that it wasn't this massive problem. But we would actually, everybody is on the calendar. It was in like mid-August that we would do this before the fall kickoff. We wanted to get this cleaned up before fall kickoff happened. Everybody would wear, quote, work clothes. We would put on some music, and then it by the way, the closet has to get dirtier before it gets cleaner, because it would barf out of the closet. And
yes, exactly.
Right?
I was going to say that. I was like, yes, the closet actually throws up.
It does. And then you take yes, exactly. And so, but we would have these negotiations, and then I at some point would go, okay, I get it, Angela, we'll keep it this time. But in 6 months, like, this is still on the chopping block in my world. I have not forgotten. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
but it was this intense thing. And then, we had Amy, we had Josh, and we had Angela, and we had the other people in the room that were going to put their opinions in. But those were the quintessential three: the pragmatist, the budget-minded person, and the sentimental hoarder. They all have value, and you can't put somebody down, and you can't put them in a box, and you can't all of a sudden say, "Oh, Angela, she's stupid. She's the sentimental." Don't make pejoratives and naughty talk about these people. They are a team member for a reason. Mm-hmm. Now, go ahead, Bill.
Well, and I just think I love this in the context of interns.
Okay.
Because what you're doing is you're modeling for them.
That's it.
I mean, it might just be a closet, right? But you're modeling for them, honoring your team and bringing them into these things as a team.
So you're modeling about team and about different voices in the body of Christ. You're modeling for them. We don't throw crap away and waste money. This is the church's money. You're modeling that for them. You're modeling for them order and cleanliness, that we do this 2 times a year. And we did it. Our second time a year was a month before Easter. Now, we're going a little long here, but I want to share this quick story. The reason we did it a month before Easter was because at an unknown time, our senior pastor was going to get this wild look in his eyes, and he was going to grab the entire leadership team before Easter, and they were going to make this super manic, hardcore, and he was going to go, "That needs fixed, and that needs fixed, and why is that broken?" And I was like, well, that happened once. That'll never happen again. So we beat him to that, and we utterly cleaned our area long before. And I remember my boss one time, he comes in, he looked a little bit disheveled. I said, "Well, what's your deal?" And he goes, "Well, it happened again." And I said, "What happened?" And he goes, "The manic tirade before Easter." And I said, "Okay." And he goes, if I have to hear one more time that guests are coming to our house, that was the phrase that was just being beat down. And he goes, "And then, like clockwork, we go around the corner to your area, and it's perfection."
I love it. I love that you preempted it. That's amazing.
Yes. I wasn't going to stand in the firefight of that thing. That's dumb. And so take note of that. There's another little Christmas gift for you people. But I do want to say, as we kind of close, don't allow your intern to be the closet cleaner. Allow them to be a part of a process. Mm-hmm. And they're going to learn, as you said, Bill, some very, very, very key ministry things. Well, so the warning here is don't turn your ministry intern loose. What you need to do is not turn them loose, but make them an intelligent observer of the strategy. You might be like, "Josh, you're telling me there's a strategy for cleaning a closet?" Yes. Scrub all the way back to this episode. If you don't see it as a strategy, you need to listen to it again, because closet cleaning is a strategy. And truly, it is an exercise in honoring and utilizing different members of the body of Christ. Well, gang, we're super grateful. Merry Christmas to you. Take some time off, would you? Sit with your family. Throw your phone out into the snowbank, right? Maybe put it into a Ziploc bag, throw it into the ice cooler. You don't need it. Take some time off. Celebrate the idea that Jesus Christ came down from heaven. Though he'd been worshiped by angels, he came down, was born as a baby in Bethlehem for the sole purpose of saving people from their sins. So you guys keep up the good work out there in ministry land. And by the way, yes, I know you don't have an intern right now, but my heart beat for you is that you would begin to think about, we should have an intern, and we can help you through that process. All right, gang, God bless you. Have a Merry Christmas, and we'll catch you on the next one.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Lead Ministry Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and visit leadvolunteers.com for more episodes and resources. Thanks for listening.